No, you should do the intro with your mouth full of cooking. And just be like, this is where we're at.
As for the Patreon, okay?
Yeah.
Plus mastication.
Plus mastication.
Is directly for the
Any
Patreon.
day now, we're going to open that subscribers only channel.
Hello, and welcome to Spooky Sips, where we put our love of horror movies into a podcast and sip some spirits along the way. I'm one of your hosts, Yvette, here with my co-hosts, Laura and Brianna.
Hello.
Hey. Okay, so we just got done watching The Strangers. Oh, this is from 2008.
Mm-hmm.
It's got Liv Tyler in it, who I love. Oh, and then some guy, but it's her.
And some guy.
Speedman. It's got Felicity or Ben from Felicity.
I think both of that and I might be a little too young for the Felicity reference.
It was such a good show, and Scott Speedman was in it. That's who it is, right? Isn't it Scott Speedman?
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
He is so sexy. You guys don't find him attractive?
I would not have called him sexy personally.
Yeah,
he is sexy.
He's just a guy.
He's just a guy. I don't know.
No, it's probably because of his personality and Felicity. Holy shit. Yeah. I used to have the biggest crush on him.
It's also hard next to Liv Tyler because, like, I mean, obviously, I feel like everyone, you think of her from The Lord of the Rings, where, like, she's literally, like, ethereal. Right. Like, she literally glows. So it's like you see her and it's like she's just this, like, ethereal beauty, you know?
I think of her from That Thing You Do.
I think of her from Empire Records. We're all showing our age right now.
No, have you ever seen That Thing You Do? Okay, that it's got Tom Hanks in it, and then a bunch of guy actors. It's such a good movie. I love that movie.
Okay, I love that we all think of her in different things. But okay, just look her up on Lord of the Rings.
No, but you're right.
I mean, again, she literally.
Yes.
Is glowing at all times.
I feel like they're pretty well matched, though. Like, I feel like they're pretty equal in attractiveness level.
Well, I don't agree, but that's
anyways, I stand by
it. They're both attractive.
So, Scott Speedman.
Let's get back on track because we haven't even said what the movie's about yet.
I'm sorry, I wasn't even ready to talk, but I just had to.
So all you need to know is it's this couple where, like, there is something tense going on between them, but they're going to this house and, you know, you get the vibe that they were there for a romantic weekend, but anything but that happens. And there we go. The Strangers.
And the movie just starts with, like, be afraid. Like, they might as well just say, like, if you don't have a Ring camera, go buy one, is basically what they were saying. Like, they start by just saying, like, oh, like, these events happened on the night of
February 11th.
February 11th.
We did it again.
When this episode is coming out.
We did it again, sippers.
We could have done this because our last episode was on February 11th.
Yeah, we absolutely could have released this.
No, we
are the worst.
We have to stay on theme of doing things completely just off the mark.
We have to stay on the of doing things poorly.
Just which we're just slightly off of.
Just wrong. Just wrong.
Anyway, the date that we missed, we've had, it's like, is it like based on true events?
Yes,
or like, it's like based on true events. And they hit you with the stat that's like, according to the FBI, there's 1.4 million violent crimes. Like, they set you up beautifully to be afraid. And by you, I mean me I this is exactly the type of movie that scares me.
Yes.
So, like, they just set you up to be scared.
Yes.
Oh yeah. And then you hear a 911 call.
Oh, yeah.
And you see these, like, missionary boys walking up.
Who are 10 years old.
Right.
I know, because at first I just thought that I wrote down, I was like, are they missionaries? Are they? But then later on you learn that they were.
They're like evangelical missionaries, not LDS missionaries.
But yeah, you see these boys, like, walking up to this scene of a house where, you know, there's a car with a gunshot in it, and there's blood, and
they sound very scared.
Something
is a call.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, there's blood everywhere.
And then it cuts to the couple. So.
And you know, she's crying. They're in the car. She's crying.
Their acting is so good. I mean, I feel like
It's
that's
so
part of
good.
what makes this movie.
I
Like they're
agree.
acting so like the first bit of just like the tension. Like 'cause,
Yes.
there's tension, but there's love there. There's like you get all of these things where it's like, I want to watch just the drama
Yeah.
that plays
Mhm.
out from the setup. I'm like, can we forget about the spookiness? I want to watch this drama.
And
Mhm.
honestly, like you get a good amount of it. Like I actually don't feel like it starts going down for a long time. Like there's a
No.
lot of setup and a lot of
Mhm.
just quiet introduction.
It
Yeah.
really, really builds the tension because
Mhm.
you can kind of tell they're dressed up and they're upset with each other, and I could tell kind of right off the bat. It's like, oh, okay, he was going to propose to her and she said no.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
she's seems really quiet and like unsure of what to say, and he seems upset but trying not to be mad. And then
Mhm.
we get to the house and there's just roses everywhere. There's champagne and candles. You're kind of
Mhm.
like, oh, okay.
And he had set up the
Yeah.
house so cute.
I know.
No, like there's like rose petals just everywhere in the
Mhm.
house. Like it's and she's like, "Oh, like when did you do this? This looks nice." Like it's so sad.
And he says
He
that like
goes
him and his friend came because we get the vibe that
Mhm.
maybe it's his friend's house,
Mhm.
that he came and helped him set it up.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And he like goes to like draw her a bath. Like he's still taking care of her, even
Right.
though like he's clearly like
Yeah,
dejected.
he's like helping her
Yeah.
unzip her dress and take off
Like
her
taking off the
jewelry.
necklace.
I did
Mhm.
notice we hear the clock chime and there was 4 rings. So I was like, okay, it's 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
And we later see the clock and we see that it's 4. And they even mention it, I think, at one point. They're like,
They do
yeah.
later. Mhm.
But yeah, it's really slow. Like
Yeah, because I mean, you can tell they're working through it, and yeah, it's like she goes to take a bath. We find out it's like 4 a.m. Like it's one of those like nights where it's like you can tell they're like talking through, like not even like fighting, but like there's just things happening where it's like it's 4 a.m. and like they're not going to go to sleep. They're just going to keep trying to talk through
but they don't really know what to
what's
say.
happening. Yeah,
Right.
Well, and so then after I just have to say this, after she takes her bath, I was like, what the hell is happening? She puts her fancy wedding dress back, not a wedding dress, but like the dress that she wore to the wedding back
Mhm.
on. And I was like, dang girl, I mean, it's cute, but that does not look cozy at all.
Well, I
Yeah.
assumed it's because she doesn't have anything else.
That's what I thought too. Because then, when the guy sees her, he says like, "Oh, there's extra clothes in the room if you want." Like
Right.
Well, and then she even said, she's like, yeah, this just makes me feel pretty.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
she doesn't want to move on from that part of the night
Mm.
yet.
Mhm.
You know, like yeah.
Yeah.
And then like you can tell they're both kind of still hurt, but then they start like getting frisky. They start, like
Mhm.
kissing, and it's clearly going to lead to something. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom.
It's like a satisfyingly loud. No, it's a scary
It
knock.
scares me. Like
Yeah.
this movie scared the heck out
I
of
watched
me.
this Home Alone at night, and that was a mistake.
Okay,
Oh,
wait, had either of you seen this?
oh yeah, we
Oh,
didn't
but
talk
we
about
talk about that. I hadn't. No.
Okay, so I did, but it wasn't when it came out. I saw it like 5 years ago, maybe, like just randomly.
Mhm.
Because I had heard so much about it
I
that
can't believe I haven't seen it.
I was like, I
Mhm.
have to watch it. So yeah, I saw it like 5 years ago. But even then, a lot of it I had like forgotten exactly how it goes down. And so like I still like I was in my basement and it was the kind of thing where like all the lights were off. And then when I had to go upstairs, like I turned the stair lights on and then I had to run really fast because I was scared.
Just run up.
Yeah, I mean, it's psychological, it's jump scares,
Mhm.
it's extremes of quiet and then super loud. I don't
Yeah.
this movie did such a good job with the
Yeah.
scares. Like,
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah. And this is where they're like, who is that? It's 4 a.m. And we also understand that like this is out in the sticks. Like this is
Yeah.
there's a lot of not a lot of houses around.
Mhm. Like as they're driving in, there's nothing.
Right.
Like yeah.
And they even say like a lot of the neighbors aren't there. Like you get that it's kind of like not a vacation community.
Yeah,
but, like,
but obviously, that's kind of what I took it as.
Kind of. And like nobody was there this time of year.
Mm-hmm. And so they go to open the door, right? Which again, no peephole, no window, nothing. It's like just these giant wood doors. But they're like, okay, yeah, let's open the door. And they open it and you can see someone standing there, but there's no light coming through.
There's no porch light. Now there's one on the other side in the back. So she's kind of backlit just a little. So you can like see her silhouette, but like not much else.
And she asks, it's like it's like Barbara.
Tamara.
Yeah. It's like, oh, like, does Tamara live here? Like, is she here?
Does Tamara live here?
And they're like, no, like, what is happening? No, you have the wrong place. And then before she goes, she says, see you later.
Yes. Which is
didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, as she leaves, it's in passing, but it's like, instead of being like, oh, okay, bye, she says, see you later.
Oh my gosh.
Immediately I was like, I'm leaving. Goodbye. 911.
So now the moment's broken between them.
Yeah.
And she realizes that she's out of cigarettes. And he's like, you know what? I want to like take a drive anyways. Like this might be good. Like I'm going to go.
I love that he chugs some champagne first though. Like chugs some champers.
I mean, he really only took a few sips. He didn't like.
No, he took the bottle.
He took the bottle.
He only took a few sips and then he threw the bottle.
True, but still.
I feel like he was definitely drinking.
Maybe not the best call.
Yeah. And speaking of which.
Speaking of drinking and driving.
Now's a good time. For anyone who watches New Girl, I frequently reference the Italian. It's an Italian driving wine.
Oh, I love New Girl.
I feel like the only thing they're sipping on is a lot of champagne. And I swear, like, it's like multiple bottles. But it's like, man, like, I know this was a proposal, but like they got champagne everywhere. They were ready to celebrate.
At one point, she also opened up a Corona, I think, like a beer.
Yeah, like a beer.
Mostly they were drinking champagne.
So we thought, what better pairing? I don't think we've done just champagne. We've done it in other drinks.
Right.
I don't think we've done that. So I love to find one that I think is at least somewhat related to the movie. So I went and got the Partners in Crime sparkling wine. It's an Italian sparkling wine. It's a more like citrusy. But the logo has like, it's like these little ducks wearing little hats. So like not quite masks like the movie, but it was so cute.
It's close enough.
Just little ducks doing crime.
I love an animal in a hat.
I do too. I sure do.
So go get yourself whatever champagne or sparkling wine you're feeling. But I went with
some cigarettes, and you'll be good to go.
And some cigarettes.
Yeah. And I love
some ice cream.
I love that it's Partners in Crime because
because at one time he like starts eating ice cream just right out of the tub.
Yeah, well, she's in the. I mean, they like had just got. He was still processing,
You know, he needed a sweet treat to drown his feelings,
and it was Bluebells, which made me think. I wonder if this is in Texas, because that's where I know Bluebell is like a southern. I know they now have it other places, but I think it like maybe I'm wrong, but I think it like originated in Texas. I just remember when I lived there, it was like a big deal.
Yeah,
Ooh, yeah.
I lived there around this time.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, I did not get any like
terrorized.
Strangers,
home invaded,
serial killer. Get strangered.
I did not get strangered. Unfortunately, here
I did love the detail though of so many scenes throughout the movie, like just that melting ice cream being in the background.
Yes.
I just thought that was just really well done because of course
it was good ice cream. It's like throw it back in the freezer.
I know,
right?
So anyway, which again, it's it's the thing you always scream about with horror movies, where it's like, why are you splitting up? One creepy thing already happened. Okay, you get one. What like I get that it was like, oh, we need to split up. Like, let me go on a drive, think about things. Blah blah. It's like no,
but it was
don't
like
leave her alone.
My immediate thoughts were like. You said none of the houses are people living in nearby. There was no car. Like, where'd she come from?
Like, she walk here? Yeah.
Where is she? Where did she go? Where did she come from?
But also they're distracted. They're going through a really big
That's so true.
So it could kind of this very first situation that kind of just like I can see you brushing it off and just saying like,
No, you're right.
no, it's your, go down the street or something.
4 a.m. They've been drinking,
right?
And they're going through this just emotional kind of, relationship hurdle.
Yes.
So no, you can't blame them too much for bad decisions.
I feel like it's when she's alone that she reminisces about the night, right? Where we see that they were at a wedding and he had earlier given her the ring and he was like, I don't want this and I can't take it back. And she was like, well, I don't want it. And he was like, I can't take it. Like, and then, while she was alone, I think she was reminiscing. So we saw where they were before.
Yeah.
And then there's another knock at the door.
Yep.
And she's immediately scared because
and the way the knock is too, again, it's so loud
and just very
aggressive.
That's the word.
No, it is just aggressive.
And then again, just in this creepy voice, is Tamara home?
Yeah, she doesn't open the door.
She doesn't open the door.
She talks through the door and she's like, you were already here and you already asked us that. Go away.
Yeah. But then the what's the guy's name? Jimmy, of the couple had lit a fire for her before he left for the cigarettes. But then all of a sudden the smoke it seems like maybe the chimney had been shut.
Yeah, the flue had been shut.
The flue had been shut. So the smoke is coming out. So the alarm goes off and she gets distracted. What's her name in this? Jimmy and
Kristen?
Honestly, I don't feel like we really hear her name very much. So
not until a little bit later, but
right.
Okay. So Kristen.
Yeah. No, I feel like we talked about it earlier, but just the sounds in this movie, like even just something like the fire alarm going off in the background.
Yes.
It's just so stark. Like it just makes you panic.
But again, I was like, okay, immediately that someone was in the house because it wasn't smoky before and it's smoky now. Like that should have freaked you the fuck out. That should have been your indicator that someone else is in your house.
Well, it does start to freak her out because that's when she goes to she realizes, oh, I need my phone charged.
Oh, and she does change. Yeah. She puts on jeans.
Yeah, she goes in a shirt. So I think there's a bit of denial happening.
No, you're right. She does go charge her phone. But here was my question. Because Jimmy's not there. Go into the bathroom where there's no windows, lock and barricade the door and charge your phone in there.
Yeah. I just feel like this is so early on where it's okay, maybe things are still fine. I guess honestly, the chimney, I didn't put together where it's oh, maybe someone did this and that someone's already in the house.
Oh, see, I thought someone did it.
See, I feel like to me that was oh, well, maybe Jimmy just forgot to do it and the fire just got bigger.
You, weren't familiar with
yeah. So
fire.
that to me that wasn't a super red, but it's okay, creepy things are happening. So to me, it's still normal to be okay, maybe I should just plug in my phone, change into not a dress. And then she calls.
Yeah, she does get the house phone and she calls Jimmy
to be okay, time to come back.
Yeah, and she's stay on the phone with me until you're back.
But the landline goes out as she's calling Jimmy.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think at this point, she's standing in the living room, we find out that someone is in the house. Just this creepy mask, super simple white mask. And he's just standing there. It's just standing there watching her. And she keeps looking, just the wrong way. She's looking out and then she goes into the kitchen and he's just standing there the whole time.
And it's just, he's so quiet about it.
Yes.
That's what makes it eerie is that he's just waiting. There's no urgency. There's no, panic. He is just good waiting and taking his time.
Yeah.
Which is fucking creepy.
So creepy. And I think then we hear a door close at this point. I would also like to point out at this point in time, I have a cat who is, I think, 11 pounds. So she's a small cat. She sounds like a herd of elephants when she gets her zoomies and she jumps like down from her tree and runs across the house. At this point in time, she chose to make the loudest sudden sound, and I about lost my mind.
Yeah, no, I think it was also like earlier in the, like around when this was happening, I got a phone call. So my phone started vibrating and
Hell no.
immediate panic.
No. Oh my gosh.
So yeah, some other noise happens, and then at this point, the smoke alarm that she had thrown on the floor, or thrown somewhere else, is just neatly on a chair.
Yes.
It's been moved.
It's been moved.
And she notices now that her phone is gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the same time.
Yeah, I think so.
Mhm.
Yeah, because she's like, oh, okay, gotta go. And then it's unplugged from the charger. That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Where she had left it. And then again, noises. They do such a good job just coming up with like spooky noises. She hears wind chimes.
Yes.
There's like a wind chime in the backyard or the side or somewhere, and you just hear the movement of the wind chime.
Is this the part where she goes up to the window with the curtain?
I don't think yet.
Maybe not.
Or wait,
yet.
maybe. Yes, yeah. Because we also hear scratching and like rattling and knocking on the door. And then
That's
I think this is when she goes up to the window.
And it's like the sliding door window or whatever has all these curtains, and she like peeks through. And I was like, that
know.
part made me so like, I was like, don't touch those windows. Don't you fucking do it. Like, I had to look away. I was like,
yeah.
Because this is then the man is at the window.
Yeah.
The man at the window. And then the girl is at the door. And it's like, shit, she is surrounded.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also like alone, the car is gone. Like she's fucked. Like there's
phone is gone. Home phone line has been cut. She is surrounded. She doesn't know how many people there are. Like what do you do?
Yeah. Well, and then back to like sounds that is happening. She had been playing a record, but then the record starts to skip. So it just goes Quicksilver, Quicksilver.
I thought it was saying, okay, I luckily had my subtitles on because I'm elderly, so I could tell, but I thought it was saying Grim Reaper at first. That's what I heard before I read it. And it was not Grim Reaper, but that's what I had heard. So yeah.
Oh no. Yeah. So creepy. Yeah. No, that's just like playing on a loop in the background. It's so good.
Oh my gosh. Well, then Jimmy gets home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They discover
so she's hiding in the room, I think.
Yeah.
And then you hear the record stop. And he's home. And then like it's chilling. Like he
was so fucking dismissive that I was like, you made the right call.
Yeah.
Not accepting his proposal. I was so immediately enraged.
Yeah.
No, yeah. He didn't believe her at all. Like it was like, hey, like all of this happened. They took my phone, and he's kind of like, oh, yeah, sure, maybe there's no one in the house.
Okay, sippers, listen. We encourage you to do the same, but we have a pact with us three that if we ever have shit going down, a ghost, a killer, whatever it is, we will believe each other.
You have to believe it.
So we as Spooky Sips encourage you with your friends to make a blood oath even that you will believe each other.
You have to.
And that way it doesn't matter if any man comes in and is like, oh, you're fine.
The house is empty.
No, it's not. My friend said it's not. There's a ghost. There's a killer. Then there is.
There.
Yeah.
But then
he had left his phone. So she's explaining to him like my phone, they took my phone and the landline's not working.
As the audience saw that her phone was in the fire.
Yes.
They didn't see that.
Correct.
But we knew that. So she was telling Jimmy that, her phone was gone. And he was like, okay, well, mine is in the car. I'll go get it.
Yeah. And he kind of like half-ass looks around where it's like, look, there's no one here. And kind of looking around. It's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So then when he goes out to the car and he's like looking in like the glove box and like the side of the seat, someone just comes up and just lightly touches his shoulder and then disappears before he turns away. Can you freaking imagine?
No, again, it's the fact that they have no urgency, no desire,
no agenda, even like
attack them. Like they have so much opportunity. They just want to freak them out. Like,
They're
it's
there to take their time.
so clear. Yeah, they're no hurry. Like, just reaches out her hand.
And it freaks them out, of course.
Yeah.
So they try to leave, but the tires are smashed.
Right.
In the car.
Yeah, the windshield is smashed. Like they, and I think
windshield is smashed.
I think they had like I swear you could see like cables from the car. Like they had clearly messed with the car. He was able to kind of get it on.
Yeah.
Like he was able to kind of have it on and start to back out, but it wasn't like really working.
Uh-huh.
But like it was obvious that someone did this. So at this point he's like, oh shit. Okay. And he tried to look for the phone, but it wasn't there.
Nope. It was gone.
Yep. And then we discovered that this was his dad's house.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's right.
Because when they're realizing like we can't leave, like the car's messed up. And so I think she says like, doesn't your dad keep a gun at his house or something? So
because you used to go hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's his dad's house, like probably vacation house. And so they go to like look for the gun.
But before they find the gun, they try to leave one more time because finally he believes her.
Right.
Because he finds his phone in the house and the battery is gone. Because again, they just want to mess with them. Like it's like, yep, here it is. And it's like, oh, okay, maybe something's wrong.
Yeah.
Let's go. Like just get in the car. It doesn't matter that the tires are slashed. Like, let's just go.
Yeah. Oh, because she's barefoot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, girl, get your shoes.
Oh, I know, right? Where it's like, you want him to change. Put on some shoes. Right. We saw that you changed. So they get in the car and they're backing up and then they see some headlights approaching.
And there is like a big car behind them. It's like rapidly.
Yeah. And we see it's one of the girls with like the doll mask.
Yes. Oh, the masks were so creepy.
And for me, because like I hadn't seen this before, I wasn't sure if that was like, I wasn't sure how many people there were. There was clearly a man and there was a girl. And I couldn't tell if this was one girl with two different masks that she was using.
Right.
Or if this was two girls. It is two girls and one guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they somehow are able to run into the house.
Well, yeah, but first the girl in the mask floors it and crashes into them while one of the other people is in front. So it's like, okay, getting out of the car. This isn't going to work.
Yeah.
Yep. So then they run back to the house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they're like, where doesn't your dad keep a gun? And they go upstairs and when they go into the room, there's hello is written in like red lipstick or something like all over the windows.
But on the inside of the window.
On the inside of the windows.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then they go in the closet to find the guns.
Yeah.
Because he found the gun, but they needed the shells.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he's like trying to load it and he doesn't know how. And she's like, I don't understand why you can't do this. You used to go hunting with your dad all the time. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I've never been. And she's like, what? And he was like, I don't know. I told you I did. She was like, why would you lie about that? Like,
yeah.
So again, another reason that you made the right choice.
No, yeah. It's like, okay, well, okay. I guess this is important right now, but yeah.
No, it's not important right now, but come on.
Mm-hmm.
So he's able to figure it out.
He figures it out.
So they have a shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But at this point, the big wooden door, like the attackers, the strangers are like hammering through. And so I'd only just want to call him Ben. But Jimmy shoots. And then they run and hide upstairs.
Yeah.
And don't they try to barricade it with a piano also?
They do.
They try to barricade the door. Right. Yeah, but they're like axing the door and the piano. We get the nice like axe hitting the piano sound.
Yeah, the piano keys, right? Mm-hmm. Again, the sound in this movie.
And at this point, I don't know, I have kind of mixed feelings about what happened, but I would have done sort of what they did, where I would have barricaded myself in a room with like no windows, no way to escape, and just wait for them to come by and shoot.
And that's what they did.
Solid strategy.
It's a great strategy.
Yeah. They're thinking now.
as they're barricaded, we see that his friend Mark, who had helped him set up, because he had called Mark in the beginning and he was like, hey man, things didn't go as I thought. I'm so sorry, but I need you to come get me in the morning or tomorrow. Like
as soon as you,
as soon as you can. Cause it's, you get the feeling that it's farther away. Like, but we see Mark pull up and you can tell that he's like kind of drunk, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of drunk driving, but it is,
who is just,
and let me tell you, like, I don't know a lot in this world, but I know that a lot of Texas people drive drunk. And that's just from personal experience. So
I feel like a lot of people in Montana do too. Like maybe it's just different states. Like
long roads
allowed. Although that's probably the most dangerous.
Oh yeah.
Right. So like we're getting these two scenes where they're barricaded and Mark is coming in, and so we're like, oh.
Like, does everyone recognize?
We know what's about to happen.
Does everyone recognize who Mark is?
From It's Always Sunny?
Yeah, he's Dennis.
Oh, yeah, Dennis.
It's Always Sunny. I was like, what is he doing here?
Dennis.
I know. He's only Dennis.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
He can't do anything else.
No,
ever
definitely
again.
Can't.
No.
Yeah,
I couldn't take him seriously.
No, I couldn't either. And like he plays like kind of an ass.
Right.
In the movie anyway, where it's like, hey, I'm here because I have nothing better to do.
Yeah.
And to come get you.
I mean, luckily we don't have to put up with him very long.
No, we don't.
Because we all know. So he...
And it's like, Mike, come on, man. There's like 20 signs here. You have a cell phone.
Yes, like he really did. Like he saw the fucked up car.
Yeah.
Like, so he knew that like
something.
And then the barricaded door, like
there were a lot of signs that like something is really wrong.
And he didn't like announce himself at all when he got there. He didn't call out. He didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I do have to say, like, I loved how they did it though. So Dennis is like walking toward where the couple is barricaded, but it's not just that. He's also like one of the attackers is like stalking him behind quietly, like with an axe. Like she's going to get him if he doesn't get got.
Like he's going to die either way.
With the mask where he's just holding the axe. Again, just very calmly. And they get him. They shoot him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like
all they see is someone.
Yeah, because at first all they saw was like a suit, right? And so they're like slowly going up to him. And I just, again, the acting, like this part was so good.
Yeah.
When he discovers it was his friend.
Yeah.
And then, Kristen is like, what's going on? Because she doesn't know yet. But he's freaking out. So she's trying to figure out what's going on.
And he has this moment where he shoots and then he's like it's like you could tell us that like you're processing what's happening, where he's like, he wasn't wearing a mask.
Right. Yes. Because he said that. That was the first thing he said.
Like first he realizes like, wait, he was wearing a mask.
Shoot first, think second.
So then he sees and he finally tells her and she throws up like,
oh, it's awful.
But it's so such a good, like,
it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, and they did this to them, like it's like they made them do, like they got them to the
happened. Right.
Like it's they didn't kill anyone.
Right.
But they got them to this point.
Yes.
Which is such a mind fuck that like even in that disoriented moment of what just happened, like he's also having that realization.
Right.
They're like, oh my God, they got me to fucking kill him. Like, it's just wild.
Yep.
Yeah. And then at this point, what they should have done is just kept the same strategy. Sit back in the room, reload the shotgun.
Right.
But they change strategies and they do the thing you're never supposed to do. And I don't know if this was to get the radio or what this was to do, but like they decide he decides he's going to go to the barn.
Don't split up.
And they separate. And he's like, you stay here. Why the hell would you do that? keep your woman with you who has the gun.
Right.
Yeah.
Both people with the gun. And even then, it's better strategy for both parties. That way she's not alone without a gun. And then she's watching your back. You go back to back.
Right.
You walk and you keep eyes on all areas. This was the one thing they did where I was like, you idiots.
And the people were already in the house. So it's not like you can be like, oh, well, you stay safely in the house.
No.
I'll go do this. Like, there was no reason to split up.
No reason to split up. Made me very upset.
There's a lot of good things about our podcast, that like our life has improved because of it. But here's another reason. Like because in these moments when you're panicked, you don't think about it. You don't know what to do. But if you've already thought about it in every scenario, like if we ever are under attack by either something paranormal or killer, like we are going to be so fine.
We're thinking through this.
Yeah.
Like we can handle it. I feel like
we know
I really think
yeah,
we're getting
100%.
out of this alive, guys.
100%.
Yeah. And we're going to start by not splitting up.
No, never.
Don't do that.
So stupid.
What I did find interesting about this movie, and I feel like we just watched another one where this happened, but like at this point, there's not that much of the movie left. Like the movie took its time to get to this point. Like it was, kind of like The Killers. Like it was a slow build up.
It was.
And
it was
by the
slower.
time we're here, like we've only got like half an hour left. Like so.
See, with this movie, I didn't notice time at all because I was so terrified and invested the entire time.
Yeah.
Well, I only did because I felt like I wanted to know. I wanted to make note of that.
Yeah. Of like, okay, when do we start seeing things happen? Like, yeah.
So again, this is when I wrote down like that you both noticed earlier. I was like, why, when she is, kind of waiting for him to like go to the barn, why did she not preemptively put on some freaking shoes?
I know.
Again, she took the time to change.
Yes.
There's mistakes.
You know what, though? I wonder. I wonder if she didn't have different shoes. Maybe all she had was her heels that she wore. Because a man would know to pack jeans and a shirt, but he might not have thought to pack her shoes. So, maybe she only had high heels. In which case, those would have been worse than bare feet.
That's a good point. All right, we'll let that slide.
We'll give her that. Yeah. We'll say that's what it was.
We'll say that's what it was.
But so she's running because she had been back at the house.
Oh, because like he's been out there for a while, and she hears shit, but she doesn't know what's happening. So she is going to run to the barn.
Yeah, because she's like whispering outside. Again, this is where they become a little dumber in horror movie, where it's like, he goes out and she's like, Jimmy, like whispering,
like only Jimmy will hear
to the forest.
It's not like a private channel just to him, like.
But she like decides to gun it to the barn.
Yeah,
she hurts her leg.
There's like a dip in the ground, and she like falls and eats it hard, like, and she really hurts her leg. And like again, the acting was so good because you could tell like not only how bad it hurt, but like the despair that she just realized, like, oh my God, I fucked up like my chances. Like it's all hitting her.
Yeah.
Because we had seen Jimmy out, and as he was running, like the people were closing in on him.
Yes.
Like the one dude was closing
because we hear a shotgun. That's I think that's one of the things she
that's why she went
out.
And
then, was this where we saw the girl on the swing? So he looks and he sees like all three of them like triangulated around him, and I loved the one of just the girl on the swing set with her mask on. I was like,
so
big fan,
creepy.
Yeah.
Oh,
but then next thing he knows, because he hears something, he looks out and he looks at all those places, and they're all gone now. All the people, the strangers.
Yeah.
So as she then is like, she finally gets to the barn, and we it's like she is going there to get the radio, and like the radio is lit up. Like it's so obviously a trap. Like, oh, look at the radio's right here.
Get the radio.
Come and get it.
Mm-hmm.
And so Kristen is in the barn, and then you just hear again, it's just they're toying with it. They're like a cat
Yeah.
playing with its prey. They're just like clanging along and like dragging like a stick along the side of the barn, just making this noise, like circling around her. It's like, oh my God.
And she's like scanning the radio. It's like an old timey kind of like, she's like scanning the radio to try to like get connected to someone while they're doing it. Like she's just trying to hurry. And finally someone responds. And it's like, oh, hello, what's going on? And all she gets out is help me.
And then there's one of the masked girls is there, and she smashes the radio.
Again, they're just they're doing all of this to mess with them.
Yeah.
And then this is when I wrote down, she makes it back to the house. Pour ice cream.
Ice cream's still melting.
Still melting. Somebody put that in the freezer. Oh. And the lights go out.
Yeah. Like it's just nightmare after nightmare.
It's awful.
Hang on just one second. You guys, there's someone outside screaming.
No, there's not.
Well,
wait, we can't hear it.
Yeah. Is it like is someone in trouble?
Oh, no, it sounded more like a teenager, maybe.
Oh gosh, like were they saying help me?
No, I think they were just like squealing. Okay, I can't hear him anymore. That was terrifying.
That's
terrifying. My gosh. I know. I'm freaked out right now just talking about
I know this movie's scary.
This movie is really scary.
Okay,
like,
sorry.
Really scary.
Maybe I'm just all jumped up. Okay. Anyways.
So, then we get this is such a good scene. So then she goes and she hides in the closet in the kitchen, and it's got like those horizontal slats that she can like peer through. And so she's in the closet, and the man is just slowly walking around with his just heavy breathing, and she's just trying to be so still and quiet, and he's just like right next to her. It's like, oh my God.
And then, like, you guys, if you don't watch it, like if you're listening to this and you're like, I didn't watch the movie, I'm just listening to your episode, at least just go Google the strangers, because you'll see their masks. So just go do that so you can like see what we're seeing.
Envision
because
it.
The masks were amazing.
Because speaking of those masks, as she's just there waiting for something to happen with the man, all of a sudden the girl's mask just pops up in the frame, and a jump scare gave me a heart attack.
And no, it has a few jumps, and every single one got me.
Yes.
And she's just like fighting through the slats, you know, she's trying to like hold the door, and the girl's just breaking the slats.
Yeah.
And then as that's happening, we see an injured James. He kind of like falls into the door with the man who now has the shotgun. And then the blonde of the girls says, "You're gonna die."
Yeah.
She was upstairs. Wait. I thought that at some point she was like she like ran upstairs, and like the man was chasing her, because then the lights came back on and she like smashed into a picture, and that knocked her out.
Yes.
And then
he drags. Yes, you're right. Because
she's helping him in the room, and walks outside, and he just rams it, or like it's completely out of nowhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, we did get kind of one more little scene
as he like drags her back. Her nails like on the wall.
She tries to catch
and
doors.
On the floor. And for me, what that scene like made me think of is I just was thinking of the evidence the next day. Yeah. And I just thought like, okay, a lot of times like I watch like a lot of true crime stuff, and you just think about, there was, claw marks on the walls and the floor, and you think of it. But this scene did such a good job of showing how the evidence gets to be what it is.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was such a well done and just brutal scene.
Yeah.
It was intense.
Yeah, because then she comes to and she's back in her dress. So they changed her.
And I mean, again, this movie is literally just like, be more afraid, actually.
Right.
It's daytime.
Yes.
We get to see outside the house, and it's the sun is out. It's daytime, and it's like, oh, you thought bad things only happened at night.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go see what's going on inside the house.
And we get confirmation that there's nobody around. Like, we already knew that, but now in the daylight, we see like there's nobody.
Yeah.
For days.
So they're, you know, side by side, Kristen and Jimmy bound up in the chairs. And Kristen says to them, she says, "Why are you doing this?" And they say, "Because you were home." Which, was it Shay that said it when she was a guest on here? And she mentioned something about this part of the strangers, like that being like one of the scariest lines in a movie.
Because it is.
It totally is.
There is something so haunting about the idea. Because here's the thing. In our everyday life, we like to believe that we're immune to these kind of things. Right? And for the most part, in all horror movies, the killer is after a specific person.
There's a reason.
Like, almost always. And so to see and believe that this is just a completely random act and it didn't matter who you were just available. It's terrifying.
Yep.
Yeah. And then they all start taking their masks off.
Oh, which the minute they do that, you're like,
as soon as they do, it's like, they're going to, okay. Yeah. They're taking them off because they know it doesn't matter if they see no hope now. Oh, again, it's just so, it's so sad and scary.
It's awful. This scene is hard this was hard for me.
And so,
and then, I think it was one of the girls, right, that had the knife.
Yeah.
She just stabs James just like this, just raw, slow, just, I'm going to stab you. And just feel it all.
Keep doing it.
Oh, and we should say one thing that had happened, I think it was when James was gone getting the cigarettes, is Kristen had been playing around with like the ring, and she had put it on her finger to kind of test out and see, but then she couldn't get it off.
Yep.
And so like as they're tied up, they're hopeless. They've seen the masks off. I think maybe he's already been stabbed the first time or something. He looks over and they're like holding hands, and they're, you know, they're telling each other they love each other, and he sees the ring on her finger. So at least he got to die like thinking that, you know, she maybe would have said yes after all. Like,
and she just keeps repeating over and over, like, look at me, look at my face. Cause like he's excruciatingly dying.
Yeah.
And she's like, look at me, look at my face. Like, oh, it's
yeah.
This friggin' movie, you guys.
I know.
You're welcome.
How have I never seen this before?
I know.
Embarrassed, honestly. Okay.
And then they stab Kristen too.
Yep.
Like they get her
to
the next person.
Yep.
Just looking at each other while they're being stabbed.
Yeah.
Cut to, we see a truck with 3 passengers driving away from the house, and 2 little missionary boys walking up the road.
Well, and the one girl, when they're in the car originally, she goes, it'll get easier next time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know, they've done this before.
And that they're going to do it again.
Well, and as they pass the missionary boys, they stop, and the boys ask them, they say, or the one girl gets out, and the boy asks her, he says, "Are you a sinner?" And she says, "Sometimes." And then he gives her the pamphlet about like,
the Lord.
So like she's showing her face. It's very like, whatever. I don't care what happens.
And then we see the little boys go into the house, and it's now the intro scene again.
Yeah. And as he leads in, Kristen is still alive. We get like a final jump scare.
Yep.
She like gasps, screaming awake. And that's what I wrote down. What?
Yeah.
I could not handle that she was alive. I did not see that coming.
No, I wasn't ready for it.
Who knows if she'll stay alive in her condition? But
I mean, I'm sure it's tough, but
yeah. But that was a wild ending.
No, this was again, it's just scary. Like it
Yes.
just talking back through it and thinking back through it.
I'm scared right
It's
now.
yeah, no, I'm home alone.
There is a window behind me and I don't like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, okay. I was just trying to like do some very quick research, but they did make more, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I have not seen any of the others or really
No.
heard much about them. This one
Mhm.
doesn't look like it did very well. This was in 2018. It
Mm-hmm.
was called The Strangers Pray at Night. I don't know what that
Mhm.
means. And then I think they just did another one too.
I think so.
Oh, Chapter 1.
Mm-hmm.
They're calling it.
There's plans for more.
And that one has even worse reviews than the last one.
Yeah, I mean,
Now,
it's
this
not,
You can't always judge off
yeah,
True.
their IMDb score.
especially horror movies.
Right.
Because it's really hard for horror movies to get
Right.
good ratings, honestly.
But
Does this one have good ratings though?
Yes, it does. This one is at 6.1,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
which again for horror.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what a movie.
No, it really is. This is one of those movies where like when it ends, you kind of just like need a second because
Yes.
like
I did.
oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I feel like we've all talked about our pets being creepy, but after I finished watching the movie, I went to the bathroom, and you two know this. But my cat's favorite thing to do is be mad when you close a door.
Yeah.
And so I offended him and closed the door to the bathroom while I was in there. So while I was in the bathroom, he loves doing this thing where he just like pushes his claws against the door and then scratches all the way down.
Squeezer.
Like he just he stands up
No.
tall, paws up, and then scratches all the way down the door.
Squeezer, that's
as like
too
a hey,
scary.
let me in, open the door. And I freaked out. Again, I was home alone.
Fair.
Other than with my cat.
No.
That is very fair.
Not cool. Not cool.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just like, I'll save some of it for later when I review it. But like, I loved this movie. Like, there's just something about it that like got to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's effective.
Yes.
It's very effective.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So Laura, I'll be interested to see where you're going to take us
Yeah.
on your
Where are we
psych
going?
segment. And before we get into it, just remember, she's not a real doctor, but hopefully these are not real people.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I know.
So
I
where are
hope
you going to
so.
take us tonight, Laura?
All right, we're not going to go too long on psych tonight because I'm getting over being a little sick and my voice is kind of fading.
Yeah.
But we are. If the two of you will remember, about a month ago, or 4 weeks ago, we talked about some crime theory.
We're coming back to crime.
So when we talked about crime theory, I talked about routine activity theory. Do you guys remember the 3 things that had to happen for crimes to occur?
I do not.
Nope.
So, these are theories to why people commit crime. And here's why I went back to this. Because of their statement of why are you doing this? Because you were home. So I instantly went to crimes of opportunity.
Yeah.
Like what does that have to do with it? Like how much is opportunity impacting these people's decisions to do this crime?
Yeah.
So there's a few theories to why people commit crimes. The one we talked about a few weeks ago was routine activity theory. And that says that there's 3 elements that have to converge. You have to have a motivated actor or offender, I guess, a motivated offender, which is our 3 people. You have to have a suitable target. So people who are home in a secluded area. And then you have to have the absence of capable guardians. Now, capable guardians doesn't just mean like, my parents aren't home or something like that.
Yeah.
A guardian could be anything from like parents to cops to surveillance cameras, basically something that's going to be in the way of like holding you accountable for what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so crimes of opportunity happen when those conditions are met.
And I will make a quick caveat that it was 2008. So like Ring cameras weren't a thing yet.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good point.
But you could have an alarm system.
Well, no, you could have
You
an
could have
alarm system for sure. Yes.
Mhm.
But like how we think of it today
No, that's
is
true.
not
Yeah.
how it was.
Yeah.
then. Right.
Mhm.
Right. So that's one theory as to why a crime can occur. Another one is called rational choice theory. And so this theory suggests that criminals make rational decisions when they choose to commit a crime, just like any other non-criminal would make a decision. So humans really all we're trying to do all the time is reduce pain and increase pleasure. And we all, in this theory, are going to make the most rational decision that we have to do that. Now, my version of what's rational and a criminal's version of what's rational might be different.
Right.
So these criminals, their way to experience, pleasure or joy is apparently to murder people.
Mm-hmm.
So they
is murder.
It's murder.
In their mind, the benefit of the joy that comes from murder outweighs the risk of getting caught, the risk of, committing this crime. So in that situation, crimes of opportunity would only happen when the perceived reward is worth the risk. So yeah, this is risky. I might go to jail for the rest of my life, but it's still a rational decision because the payout is so good. The feeling I'm going to get from killing these people is so strong that it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's this rational choice.
I mean, that makes sense.
Theory.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the one that was really driving my psych tonight. The situational action theory or situational opportunity theory. This proposes that people commit crimes when they think their actions are really like viable options in a specific circumstance. So it kind of it emphasizes like the mingling between people's desire to do this crime or their tendency to do this crime and their exposure to something we talked about a couple months ago, criminogenic variables. Remember those things that like are going to make you more prone to do a crime?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So this has kind of been like even like a subset of like criminology. This is where I went down this like path of like just studying criminology.
Love a rabbit hole.
It was such a good rabbit hole. And so typically criminologists or historically have focused on like motives behind the person, right? Like why do people commit crimes? Like what has happened in their life? What's going on in their psyche? Like what's happening? Whereas this one is kind of saying it's actually a little bit more like the opportunity, the environment in that moment. Not like, like your subculture or something like that. It's more like, you know what? This car is unlocked. I'm going to go steal something from it. It's just that this opportunity's here. So let's just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it puts a little bit more emphasis on like this, just the situation that's at hand. So I thought that was just really kind of interesting thinking about how like the physical and the social environment can kind of come together to just be like, you were home.
Mm-hmm.
Like we wanted to do it. You happen to be home. It's kind of interesting because it looks more at like, that immediate things rather than like the offender's background. But I do think in these people, like we have to look at their background because it's not just that, they happened to be walking down the street and they came across a house where people were home. And so they thought, oh, let's go kill them. No, they had to do a lot of planning. And then it was the situation happened that these people were the right people for their planned crime. So I think these criminals were a bit of a mixture.
Yeah, that seems fair. Like they brought the mask and everything. Like they had to do some prep, right? So they had to go into this knowing like, oh, if we find a group, we'll do this. Right. But if not,
So like it's a bit of their personality traits. Clearly, like they've got clear personality disorders, antisocial, like they're, sociopaths. Like they don't care. And they've planned it. They've made the rational choice that they're going to take this risk of getting killed because turns out these people had a gun. I mean, they weren't effective with it, but
well, right.
Yeah.
Or going to jail.
No, but you know what? It really does help make sense of like the haze that they're in because it probably isn't so rational that they like are sitting there being like, okay, I'm going to outweigh the pros and cons. You know what I mean? Like they probably themselves are somewhat in like that crazy drive of the thrill that they're seeking to kill them. And so it does help explain like how you could get to that point.
Yeah.
Because like we might have to cut this out so I'm not put on a, FBI list. But like I've thought about it before. But I've been like, could I do it? Like, could I kill someone? Like,
right.
And it just is such a wild thing to like actively think of that I'm like, some of it has to be this subconscious thought behind it. Because if it was all really that like intricate and outlined and like you wouldn't do it. Like there has to be some of the like crazy thrill that takes over your thinking.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's all just a theory to them, right? They've discussed it, they've planned it, but then all of a sudden these people are home. And it's the first people that are home that it's going to work for. So they're like, okay, well, here's our opportunity. Let's go. And so it might have like kind of been a bit of a shock. And I think that's kind of, I think we see some hesitancy in the man a little bit, like with his breathing and his kind of like slow to initiate some things. I think he was fine with it when it was all talk. And then as it's time to go, he's like, oh, can I really do this? And the girls are like, yeah, take the knife, do it, go. So it's a really scary thing to think about. Like sometimes you can't control it. And that's kind of like the benefit of thinking that it's rational choice or that it's this routine activity theory is then you can control it. It's like, okay, well, I can be around people that don't have a history, or I can take measures like putting locks on my doors and never dividing my groups.
Right.
And things like that so that you can reduce your chance of like being a victim. But sometimes it's just a random opportunity and there's nothing you can do, which is really freaking scary. And it's really hard for criminologists to like dissect that.
Right. Because like so often when we talk about these movies, we say that like, oh, well, as the victim, like you probably weren't thinking straight because like of everything that was happening. But that also probably applies to the killers. Like they're also hyped up. Their adrenaline is probably going nuts. Like they're probably also not thinking straight, even if they're very calculated. Like there's still going to be some like,
I feel like that's what makes them creepier though, right? It's like how calm we see them. Like all they do is stand there. They just kind of stand. They don't really run. Like they seem so like it's not even like, oh, like clearly they just like love this. Like they find so much joy in murdering people. It's like, no, like they're just kind of there.
It's like they've accepted the finality of what they're doing. And so it is what it is. They don't have to rush it.
Exactly. Because like you also probably as the victim are like, they have got to be fucking insane because like they didn't know what they were getting into when they knocked on our door. Like, yeah, maybe they saw who we were as, bodies, but like they didn't know. So like there's a lot of risk for them, for the killers. So it would be even scarier because you're like, they've got to be crazy motherfuckers to like go into this blind.
And the whole group it's not even like, oh, one person did this. It's a group, 3 people coordinated, and we're like, "Yup, this is the move.
This is it. Here we go."
Yep. So, like, lots of theories as to kind of some decision makings that happened with this masked group, but it's all very scary.
Yeah.
And then I did a little bit of thinking because the other topic I was thinking about is poor Jimmy and what effect this act of friendly fire is what I was calling it,
Oh,
probably would have had on him. So maybe it's okay that he didn't make it because he could have been in for some rough effects of what he did.
Yeah.
So some of the things that might have happened to him is he probably would like start doubting his own competence, just having high stress and anxiety, like classic PTSD. Probably he would have like ruminated over this event and thought, what could I have done differently? Or not being able to stop think about what happened, or thinking about a similar situation happening again, even though that's unlikely. Like that could all be things that could have happened to him.
right.
And just all depression, anxiety, probably misusing substances because he was already doing that
Right.
on a night that was rough. Just guilt and shame. And it could have been very, very long lasting. So, at least he didn't have to suffer through the effects of that.
That's true. Sadly.
So but so that was the only other thing I thought about, but mostly just like crime theory. I'm quitting my job. I'm
really
becoming
interesting.
a criminal.
I love this for you.
Support this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing it.
But only for the
For the pod.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's a write-off. It's a tax write-off.
It is. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's my psych tonight.
Wow. Interesting.
All right. Well, I can share a few fun facts. So the inspiration for this movie, where did he get this? It kind of came from a few different sources. One was the director, Brian Bertino, said that when he was a kid, he remembers that one day a stranger came and knocked on their door and asked if someone was there, like someone by name, like, oh, is someone here? And they said no. And so they left. And then later they found out that a few of the neighbors' houses got broken into. So it was like, knock, see if anyone's home. And if no one answers, break in. And then he was also inspired from some like real life crimes. Like I think like the Manson murders were some. I've seen a few people name a few different ones. So I think he also took a little bit of inspiration, not like, again, it's not an actual true story.
Right.
Or based on like one specific one, but I think he took elements from other murders that had happened.
Well, and I think it did say inspired by true events, not based on a true story, which is technically different terminology.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's like if you actually look at that first line, it's like, okay, but like I feel like when you first see it, it's like, oh my God, this really happened.
Right.
I just have such a memory when I was in high school, we went to go see a movie and it was a scary movie and it said based on a true story and it was not. And I just remember my friend was like, they're not allowed to do that. They can only put that if it really is.
That's illegal.
I was like, that's not true. And she was like, no, it really is true. She was like, I don't know who it is that like checks that, but like you can only say that if it really is. I was like, that's not true.
I believe that your friend believed that was true.
She did.
Yes.
Maybe I hope she still does.
Yeah.
That's
whatever
like,
you are.
That's like the movie Fargo and then the show. Okay, have you both seen the movie Fargo?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, I love the movie.
Have you seen the show Fargo?
Like season 1.
Yeah, I have not.
It's the best show. It's like one of the best shows there ever has been. Like it's all seasons are different, but they're also good. But in the movie and the show, I love how they say like, this is based off of true events, and out of like respect for the victims, like names have been changed,
right?
Or out of respect for the survivors, names have been changed. Out of like respect for somebody else, everything else has been said exactly as it is. I don't know. I messed that up.
Yeah.
You know what I
have
mean.
a good opening quote.
Right. Cut that part out. That part was stupid.
No, I love that. Legally, they can't. It's like when you're in school, it's like
illegal.
Legally, if the teacher is 15 minutes late, we can go.
Yes, exactly.
It's true. That is legally true, actually.
You're okay. Laura's fact checked this.
Yeah.
To all the children listening.
We did have someone finally comment on one of our episodes where they were like, that's not what it is. It's actually this. It was the Krampus episode. Someone left a comment and they were like, no, what it is, and they explained what it is. Because like at the end about the snow globe theory.
Yeah.
And they like gave their opinion on it. But I was like, oh my gosh, we've got our first.
No, here's
I want to know what we got
guys,
wrong.
Please correct. Like,
no, we're usually wrong.
I try to listen to the bonus features. We try to come up with stuff together. Like, if we're wrong, like, please tell us, because I legitimately want to know.
I bet we're so wrong.
I'm sure I'm wrong at least once an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every episode we tell one lie.
Yes.
We never
Each one of us.
We never claim to be historians.
No.
That's right.
We're not
Or
lawyers.
archaeologists.
No.
No, we're definitely not lawyers. Legal.
Anyway, fun fact. Okay, one thing that I did like about this movie is that a lot of this movie was shot with like handheld cameras, or at least
Nice.
meant to look like you could get like the
did
camera movement.
feel like
And
that.
usually that annoys me, you know, like
Yeah.
Blair
When it's
Witch,
overdone.
I'm nauseous
Yes.
watching them do. When they overdo it, I hate it. But in
Agreed.
this movie,
They
it
did it
kept
good.
giving the effect of someone watching.
Yes.
Like I noticed it immediately, the like slight movement in the camera where it's like, oh, like this just feels like someone's watching. Like
Yes.
you get that effect of
Yes.
someone watching them the whole time.
It was done so well.
Mm-hmm. The film was shot in chronological order, which like, I feel like
nice.
kind of tracks, you know. I feel like
as
especially like with the blood and the
Yes.
piano, like I feel like you have kind of big set changes.
Yeah.
And like as an actor, especially because it's such a small cast, like
Mhm.
I think that'd be cool to go in
Mhm.
order. I bet it would
Yeah.
feel more
Or it's like
organic.
once you're going in the motions, you know, like
Mhm.
you just
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of the set, so they did find an actual house that's like inspired for, so like the exterior I think is just in South Carolina.
Okay.
So it is like a real house, but to actually film the inside would have been impossible inside. So they like rebuilt the inside on just like a big soundstage,
Okay.
which is always so like movie magic.
Yes.
Like that's always because like, you know, I watched the like the behind the scenes extras, and you can, you know, you get to see like it's like, oh, here's the living room on the giant soundstage with all the cameras, and it's like it's crazy that when you watch the movie, like it just looks like a house.
Exactly. It really does blow my like I want to go to Hollywood and go see like the sound stages
Yes.
of famous
Movie?
because it blows my mind.
No, it's
Mhm.
so cool. And yeah, I mean, you could say it's like they have like walls that are like removable so they can get all the shots that they want. So
It's like whenever you
Um,
watch behind the scenes of them filming and it's so like not what it was for you as the viewer. It's this
yeah.
wild like dissonance of being like, whoa.
Yeah. Apparently, one thing that was kind of interesting is we talk a lot about the sounds. They
Mhm.
were in this giant sound stage when they were doing things. And so, like, things like the loud knock and things like that, because they were in this big sound stage, you got like a crazy echo.
Mm.
And so I'd recommend looking up some of the behind the scenes because they play like that audio, you know, just the like, oh, here's like what they filmed. And even just when they're like talking or like yelling, you get like all the echo.
Oh
So
wow.
there's like for editing, it made it, you know, luckily again, there's like only a few characters and like not a
Yeah.
lot of like overlapping sounds. So I think they were able to kind of just like cut the noise that they didn't want. But even
That sounds
yeah,
like
just
that'd be hard to do though.
right? Like, and even just listening to it, where it's like, oh, that's not what it sounded like to me in the movie.
You know, honestly, like as someone that is the editor of our podcast, sometimes I think about that and I'm like, I don't understand how like professional sound editing works.
You're
like
professional.
I barely know how to scrape our episodes together, but I think about like on a real giant, like cinematic professional level. I'm like, I don't understand. I would
Yeah.
love to just go like shadow for a day and see what they
Right?
do because I think it would be so fascinating.
That
That'd be
would be
cool.
so cool just to watch.
Yeah.
Well, okay. One thing that might make you feel better about sound editing is that apparently when they first released this movie, a lot of theaters got kind of faulty reels of the movie. And so there were actually sound problems in the copies that they received.
Oh no.
But because this movie's already kind of eerie and quiet and has all like just like the darkness and then loud like sounds, people didn't really notice.
Nice. That's
People
awesome.
thought all that stuff that was happening completely intentional.
All right, here we
all right.
go. That's amazing.
That'd
So,
be
you
kind of
know-
hard. It's like you put so much time into making because this movie is so good with its
Right.
sound, and so you
Mhm.
take so much time making it perfect, and then like a messed up version goes out, and people are like, "Oh, that's fine."
Yeah, it's
You're like,
fine.
damn it!
It's all good. I mean, I feel like with this movie in particular, because the sounds are so just
Right.
like random and then loud and then quiet, you know, like, I
Yes.
feel like it made more sense
No, it
in
does.
this
Yeah.
one.
the baseline was a little more uneven, right?
Yeah. And apparently, again, with all the loud noises, they kept actually making them, and they tried to actually scare Liv Tyler while she was filming. So they would tell her like, "Oh yeah, there'll be like however many sounds coming from that direction," and then it would come from like a completely different direction in a completely different way. So like they tried to get some honest some honest reactions when they were filming. And then apparently before they would shoot a scene to kind of just get like built up, like get ready for the scene, because she was like, you can't just go from like sitting to like filming these types of scenes. So like, she would go on like a jog, like she would like run laps and like do jumping jacks, basically. So like she would like be kind of sweaty and like out of breath, and so
heart rate elevated.
Yeah. So when it was like, okay, like we're about to film, it was like, okay, go run your laps. Like she would go
Method
do all her
acting.
little exercises and then get into it.
Honestly, probably like good for the cardio.
Yeah.
System
Totally.
as
Right?
well. Like, yeah.
One thing I was wondering if you guys caught the very beginning of the movie. I'm going to jump back to the beginning before I jump to the end. Did you notice that in the opening credits, they were meant to look like famous horror movie houses? So you get the very beginning, there's kind of like as if you're driving past houses. So the houses at the beginning look like the house from Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween and the Amityville Horror. So I didn't catch it the first time, so I went and replayed it. Like, just look up the opening credits, and
I'm gonna go
it's
relook
like
at it. Yes,
it's all these like horror.
Oh, that's so
houses
cool.
that they're driving past.
Oh, how fun! I didn't notice at all.
Right? Yeah, no, I totally didn't catch it. Okay, and then I'll jump to the end. Apparently, the original script had the ending be a little bit different. At the end, I think we were going to see the strangers, and we were going to see them like cleaning up the crime scene. And I think they were even going to like put on Kristen and James' clothes and stuff. We were just going to see them. And I think they were going to have more dialogue as well between like the couple and the strangers. So we were going to get a little bit more of them. But then they decided that, I think they even did testing, and they realized that with testing, it was creepier to keep them mysterious.
Yeah.
And not see them. And so they did have to kind of get creative with the editing for the end, because they realized they wanted to hide their identities.
I love the way it ended. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that works better. Like I feel like the other ending, like that would have worked. Like them cleaning, or I don't know. Yeah. Like maybe it would have been fine. But I kind of like that it's like, and you'll just never know.
Yeah, and I like that they just kind of walked away from it.
Yeah. They just drove off.
Like,
they were just gone.
Yeah.
The last thing is, it was made on a budget of like $9 million, which, is not huge, but, a small cast. And it ended up making like 82 million in the box office, which I think is higher.
Yeah.
That's like higher than people expected.
Right.
Sorry. One that I skipped over is the car crash. When they're crashing into, they shot it 3 times. The first one, they hit the car going like 15 miles an hour. And then they wanted more impact on the car. So then the second shot, they were going 25 miles an hour. And then in the final one, where they had stunt doubles, so the actors playing the couple did not do their own stunts. They had a stunt double in there. They hit it again going like 20 miles an hour, which like honestly, that's kind of hard.
Yeah, it is.
Like I saw them in the car, like in the behind the scenes, and you see like they kind of like
that's
they jostle around there, and then like they just open the car door and get out, and I was like, whoa, wait, that was them?
Yeah, that's a rough impact.
So shout out to them, because that sounds really difficult.
That sounds very scary.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh.
Anyway, those are some of the fun facts.
That's what I love about this, is like I find the behind the scenes stuff so fascinating. Because it just makes you like think of everything that goes into making a movie. Like it's so much. Oh yeah. But this, I mean, I loved this movie. I am a big fan, and it actually scared me. Which like at this point, it takes a lot. I'm trying to think of the last movie that like genuinely scared me.
Stop motion scared me.
Oh, stop motion was.
That one was.
Stop motion genuinely scared me.
Yeah, stop motion got me. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably the last
I think that was the last one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it takes a lot. So
yeah, no, this one was scary.
all right, well, let's get into it. Here on Spooky Sips, we don't give stars, we give sips. So out of 5, how many sips do you give The Strangers?
Okay, do we have our rating somewhere? I know, Brandon, that you did this.
Yeah, let's see.
No, you just have to go with your gut.
Well, no, I'm trying to remember what I did for one specific movie.
No, I know.
There's one specific movie that I want to know what I rated it. Okay, yes. Okay, I found it.
Okay, I'll go first.
Are either of you ready?
Yes, I'll go first. I'm going to give it a 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm at because, like, for me, it had so many of the things that I love. Like, okay, so we were talking about this in My Bloody Valentine. If you listen to that one, like, slashers are probably my least favorite as far as horrors go. Like, that's my least favorite genre. But this didn't feel like a slasher necessarily. Like, it's different, but like, I loved the pacing and I loved the acting. I loved the set. Like, I loved it all. And it genuinely scared me. So yeah, I'm a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking along the same line. So I made us pause so I could look it up because it's one of my favorite movies is Hush, which is also a home invasion movie. And it's one of my favorites. I think they do it the best, honestly. And I did like Hush more than I liked this movie. I don't have to go into comparisons, but like, I feel like what I love about Hush is like, there's no point where I question her. Like she does everything to survive.
I agree.
And in this movie, they fall a little bit into like, why are you doing this? Just be smarter. So I had given Hush a 4.5. So yeah, I agree. I think I'm going to go with a 4 on this one because it's really good. But to me, it's like just like a little notch below.
That's fair. That's that's a good comparison because they are very similar in their vibe of like style of movie.
Yeah. And if you liked this movie and you haven't seen it, I'd recommend Hush. It's a good one.
Yes. 100%.
So yeah, I normally don't think slashers are my favorite, but this movie scared the bejesus out of me. And I just really loved the pacing. Yes, I did find some of their actions and decisions stupid, but I also think that that's part of the beauty of horror movies. I actually kind of like when they do that.
Because it seems real.
Because it seems real. I'm mad that it took me this long to watch this movie because I was shocked by how much I loved it.
Yeah.
It was so good. And I feel like maybe over time my ratings have gone down.
Honestly, yeah, I get that.
But
right, because we've just seen so much.
Right. But I loved this movie from start to finish. I want to watch it again. As far as slasher movie, or not slasher, but like home invasion movie goes, or like slasher movies, it's I think my favorite one.
Yeah.
4.5.
Nice.
Yeah.
I honestly, I think I like a home invasion. Yes. They are almost psychological horror, which I love a psychological horror. Yes. So like, I honestly think they're my favorite because I love this movie. I love Hush. And one of my favorite Christmas movies we've done is also a home invasion.
Yes.
They're also going to be, I think that might be a top category for me. I'm kind of putting this together.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I agree. Because it really
me too.
Gets ya.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yes.
Because I mean, I said earlier, they're so effective. They're truly scary.
Yes.
You know?
I know. And it really does take a lot for me to get like that like feeling.
Yeah. But they suck you like because of how realistic they seem, they suck you in.
Yes.
You know?
Yep. Okay, well, I don't even know what category the next one is on because honestly, I don't really know much about it, but next time on Spooky Sips, we're going to be watching The Carnival of Souls.
I know nothing about this movie.
It's
I
a
don't either.
1960s movie. I don't. Do any of us know why? Like,
Yes.
did anyone recommend this, or why
Yes,
are we watching
because
it?
I think
I
so.
was out drinking with friends one night and somebody said I have to watch it. So,
okay.
And
or that we
that's
have to
all it
watch it.
takes for us to watch a movie.
Yes.
That's why it's on our list.
If you're listening and you're like, I want you to watch this terrible movie, we will.
We'll watch it.
Well,
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying this next one will be, but I'm just saying we'll watch anything.
We'll
Yeah.
watch anything. Yep.
Mhm.
Except for the Human Centipede.
Still haven't seen that.
We watched the first like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Laura and I were blitzed one night, and I think we had it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we
But-
didn't. We even then we couldn't finish it.
No.
Other than that.
If you love the Human Centipede, let us know. Let us know if it's worth it.
Yeah, if you love it, let us know, and
I
maybe we'll
can't.
just let you tell us about
If it just really gets good at the 25-minute
Yeah.
mark.
We'll just let you explain it to us, and that will be our episode on
Yeah.
it. So
Can't do it.
No. we have dignity here on Spooky Sex.
Speak for yourself.
Well, all right,
Says
so you,
the person who hasn't fallen out of the chair.
yeah. All right, well, two of us have dignity here on Spooky Sex.
It's not the psychologist.
Oh my God.
So if you haven't seen the Carnival of Souls, get watching, get sipping, and we'll see you next time on Spooky Sips.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Adorable.
Thank you for listening to Spooky Sips. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening. To stay up to date on all the spooky things we're up to, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at spookysips_podcast. And if you want to help support the podcast, consider buying us a coffee, or really a cocktail. We are completely independent, so every little bit goes a long way to keeping our podcast running and improving. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.